I hate introducing people. It's really
Why do you hate introducing people?
I don't know. Like it's just like, hey, here's this guy. I feel like that's enough, but you always have to say something more.
Let's do it together.
Let's do it together.
Yeah, I can help you.
All right. Yeah, we can. Yeah, let's introduce Jon Dore together.
Okay. Well, why don't I start?
You're Jon Dore.
Yeah, my name is Jon Dore. I'm speaking to Katy today, and I could not be more thrilled. Her credits include currently working for the SaltWire, and if you want to know more about her past, you can go online and find her bio. Katy, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now you're in Dartmouth.
I am in Dartmouth, and you're in
What's that like?
Dartmouth it's beautiful. It's my favorite place on earth, and has the best view of Halifax that you can get. We're just across the harbor, and soon you'll get to see it.
Yes, it's been a long time since I've been in Dartmouth. I've been in Halifax many times, but Dartmouth, I only have one really fond memory of sitting in a parking lot in the pouring rain with some of my good friends, and we laughed a lot that day. It was one of our favorite days off. Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully this time it's more than just a rainy parking lot. You're going to be at the sanctuary. That's brand new. I've never been in there before.
Yeah, neither have I. I usually do Halifax, but this tour worked out that I could only do the Saturday night. So we were looking for venues, and we found this great spot, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I was looking at photos, and it looks like a church, which is amazing.
Good.
You're gonna have people. You're gonna fill the pews. Have you ever filled the pews before? You think?
Have I ever filled the pews? Yes, I filled the pews, but they were chairs in the basement of a church. So I guess they weren't technically pews. But yeah, very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun Saturday night in Dartmouth.
In Dartmouth, I know. One weird thing is this has nothing to do with you. I'm just telling you about it. I was looking at photos of the venue, and they had like this one photo of like a hallway with a chair, and I've dreamt of that place before. Like I was like, oh my God, I've seen this place in a dream. And it was just the weirdest thing. So I'm excited to go because now I want to do I already in my soul know this place? I don't know.
Well, wait a minute. So you had a dream about a hallway with a chair in it?
Yeah, it was the same one. It was the same window.
There's lots of hallways with chairs. Oh, you're convinced it was this hallway with a chair in it?
Yes.
This is spooky.
Well, my dream was about I remember I wasn't in a church. I think I was in a rectory. So it was something like a church. Anyway, it's weird. Maybe
it is very weird. So you dreamt of a place you've never been before, and you saw a photo of this place calling you to visit this place. At least that's how you're going to interpret it, and you're going to go?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is exciting. We need to follow up with this. We need to
investigate.
If you're there on the Saturday, let's absolutely find that hallway and see if it brings you some sort of deeper meaning. Maybe there's a clue or something there, and you're supposed to embark on a journey. Maybe
we're supposed to meet at this place, and maybe something magic's going to happen. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, something magical is going to happen at that church regardless.
Yes.
The magic of comedy. However, your own personal journey is something that I do want to follow up on. I want to find out what's happening with your dreams, why you're connected to this place.
Why am I connected? And speaking of magic, being a stand-up comedian, do you to me, I always look at people doing stand-up. I come from a film background, so whenever I see somebody performing, I appreciate the artwork that they're doing, and I kind of watch them do it. Do you find being a stand-up comedian is kind of like a magician, because you have to have certain setups and certain things going this way, and the audience, leading into one joke, and then that's how you come in on the punchline? Would you say that's similar?
Sure. Yeah, there's similarities, I'd imagine. I mean, I'm not a magician, so I can't pretend to know, what goes on in the world of sleight of hand, etc. But I mean, obviously you're misdirecting the audience. You're making them think one thing, and then you take them down a different road and surprise them with something else. So I'd imagine that's what magic is. Yeah. But sometimes, stand-up comedy is storytelling, and it's not so much about a surprise or a twist. It's more about just telling a funny story that people can relate to and jump on board with, which would be interesting if magicians just did that. There was no trick at the end of it, just kind of really fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So how long have you been doing stand-up?
Oh, too long. Way too long. It's time to, I painted myself into a corner. This is all I know how to do. So I can't get a desk job now. I have no fallback plan. And it would be nice to have one. We have a 15-month-old at home. Well, that was also a surprise. Talk about a misdirection. That was, that was a surprise. So now the world of stand-up comedy doesn't provide you with things like a pension or, health benefits. So, I think I'm stuck doing stand-up comedy. So I started doing it about 20 years ago, to answer your question. And I really wish I didn't. I really wish I wasn't doing this, but I have no choice. I have to. So come out to Dartmouth and help me put some shoes on this kid's feet, would you?
What would you want to be doing if you weren't doing stand-up?
Oh my God. Who knows? I can tell you what I don't want to do. I don't want to tree plant. Did that, got fired, hated it. Worked at the Dairy Queen. That was fun. Everyone thought there was a ghost in the basement. That's a long story. I can't get into it. Worked at a butcher shop. That was also terrible. Bad management. Served in restaurants for several years. That was the most fun. I think to go back to being a bartender is the only thing I'm qualified to do, and the only thing that I would really like to do. Even though after a few too many shifts on my feet, I probably wouldn't like it that much. But oh jeez, I can't believe this is happening. I'm getting a phone call right now.
It's okay. You can answer if you want. We can always cut this in post.
Hello. Hi, Jon. Oh, hi, Carolyn. I'm just in the middle of an interview. Can I call you right back? Okay, thanks. Sorry, the phone call came up on my computer, so I had to answer it.
That's fine.
I'm talking to Katy in Dartmouth, and she's really mad at you. But I let her know you're upset with her.
Good.
Yeah. So I'd like to be a bartender again if I could control the circumstances. Only 6 people at the bar at a time, and those are the only people I serve, and I don't have to clean up at the end of a shift. That would be ideal. That
would be the best job.
Yeah.
But with tree planting, so you got fired from a tree planting job.
Let's not get into that. That's
you don't want to talk.
That's a traumatic memory from the past.
You got abandoned for 2 days?
Abandoned? What do you mean?
Well, you had to go into the base camp for 2 days before you could get off of the tree planting.
Yeah. What do you mean before I got the bus ride home? So you already know this story? Oh, so you already know this story?
I don't. I just know a little bit about it.
Well, that would be
Tell me about it.
That's what I'm asking. Yeah. Yeah, it's a long, dumb story that I've told before, but I hated it. It was the worst. If you don't know what tree planting is, you're, living in a tent and being woke up by car horns at 5 a.m. to go into this makeshift breakfast area where you walk in like zombies and eat your breakfast and make your peanut butter and lettuce sandwich. And then you drive an hour out into the bush in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by more black flies and mosquitoes than you can possibly imagine. And you spend all day out in the either sometimes snow in early May in Northern Ontario. So the ground is still pretty frosty, and that'll turn to rain and eventually sun. And you're battling all the elements, planting in swamps. Your trees don't stay up. The ministry comes by to check them. And you got to replant them for free. And you're only getting 7 cents a tree. And you only start making money after you plant 250 trees because that covers your food and camp costs. So it's hell on earth is what it is. And one day I committed the sin of stashing a few trees that were in the bottom of my bag at the end of the day. And I was caught and admitted to it and got yelled at. And then I couldn't get out of base camp. I was fired from my job and had to stay at base camp for 2 more days till the bus came to take me from Geraldton, Ontario, all the way back to Ottawa, Ontario, where I was living. And that was a 24-hour bus ride with a 3-hour stopover in Hearst, Ontario, where I fell asleep on a picnic bench and woke up thinking I was robbed because there were 3 men staring at me. Great job. It was a great job. Had a lot of fun.
That sounds like, but okay, maybe because I'm a Nova Scotian, I'm only so familiar with Northern Ontario or Ontario in general. Do you really need to plant? Isn't that only trees out there? Why are we planting trees in Northern Ontario?
Well, we're talking about reforesting. So these are trees that we have harvested for. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think that's only trees there. I don't even think there's people. It's just trees.
Oh yeah, no, this is a reforestation project. So you would go in and repopulate the earth with new trees. I could go back and see the trees that I planted. They're probably these magnificent monstrosities of majesty, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but you've been filming a show in Northern Ontario, haven't you?
Yeah, North Bay, Ontario. We just shot season 2 of The Lake last summer. That comes out June 9th, which is exciting. That's a fun one. So that's season 2. I play a character called Wayne, who's just a bumbling drunk of a dad, and tries to repair his relationship with his wife. But the main story is a lot more interesting than that. But you should check out The Lake on Amazon Prime.
I will check out the link. But right now you are in Alaska.
Yes.
How's Alaska?
Correct. It's all right. Not a lot going on. Not a lot to do. Moved up here many years ago after meeting a human woman. That's my criteria, human and woman. I hear those 2 words and I just get excited. So I was performing up in Fairbanks, Alaska. And after the show, met my girlfriend, now fiance. And moved up here in 2019, just before the pandemic. And then I got stuck here. And when I was stuck here, we had a baby. I'm not sure if you know how that happens, but basically, sperm will fertilize an egg in the fallopian. You probably know this.
I've never heard this before.
15 months ago, my son Jackson was born, and here we are.
Yeah, and so you're in Juneau, but also full circle, you've also won a Juneau.
Won a Juneau, yes, true.
Amazing.
Spelled differently, but
yes.
Put out a comedy album last year called A Person Who is Gingerbread, and I was very happy with it. And I won a Juno Award, which is a very prestigious award. I'm sure you know as a Canadian. I mean,
yes.
I mean, I'm now, an award winner along with people like the Tragically Hip and Gordon Lightfoot.
May he rest in peace.
Yes, may he rest in peace. May they both rest in peace, the 2 Gords. And I'd imagine every other musician like Burton Cummings or Randy Bachman feel honored to be recognized with an award that I'm also recognized with. So,
that was your one of your first records, wasn't it? I don't, maybe I'm thinking.
I'd never put out an album before. I'd recorded many times, but I was just never happy with it. And then you slowly just don't bother with it anymore. But this was just a recording I was very happy with. I went in with the intention of recording an album, and I was just very happy with it. So decided to put it out. And there wasn't, I wasn't really putting myself forward for late night television spots, and I didn't have an hour special to record. So I felt like this was the only thing to really do to document, and then obviously try to earn some money from its sales and plays on radio. So it was the right time to put out an album.
Yeah, it's a great album. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the show. I've never actually seen you live. I know you have been. You're not a stranger to Halifax, but I've never actually seen you.
Well, come on out. We'll check out that hallway in the chair. That's the
yes. I'm looking forward to it.
The show is secondary now. The most important thing is this hallway with the chair and your dream about it. You're having some rather boring dreams, let's be honest. I mean, to have a dream about a hallway and a chair. Now, wait a minute. Is there someone who was supposed to be sitting in the chair in your dream? Did it feel
No, it was just I distinctly remember, I don't remember what the dream was about, but I remember I went up these stairs and then there was a door. I don't know anything else except this one photo. And I went up the stairs and there was a doorway here, and then you turned and there was stained glass and this wooden chair right there. And when I saw the photo, I was like, oh my God, that's totally from my dream from 4 years ago.
Years ago? Oh
I know.
God. I thought this was just the other day. 4 years ago.
No.
Oh boy.
No. So, I mean, I do need more thrilling dreams.
Well, if you're going to share them, invent, lie
just
about
make it up.
Put a jetpack in it or a machine gun or some sort of chase scene. Then people will be a little more willing to listen to a dream story. That's all I'm saying.
So you're originally from Ottawa,
Ontario, Canada, home of the Ottawa Senators and Alanis Morissette, correct?
Yes. is like your family from Ottawa?
Yeah. Yeah.
You give me Atlantic Canadian vibes, is what I'm trying to get at.
What are Atlantic Canadian vibes?
I don't know. Maybe it's the beard and a lot of flannel.
Pea coat, flannel. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought maybe some ancestry would.
No, I just like the fashion, and that's purely coincidental. But yeah, no. Born and raised in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, at the Ottawa Civic Hospital. Yes, one of my testicles was undescended at birth. Actually, you don't need to know all this, but yeah, I did have to have surgery where they loosened my inguinal ring to descend the testicle into the scrotal sac where it should have been. But anyway, these are long, boring stories.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've produced a child though, so they did a very good job.
This was the concern. Yes, I could have been rendered. The semen could have been rendered useless. However, yeah.
So, but speaking of hospitals as well.
Works.
What?
What? No, I'm just saying it worked.
It worked. Speaking of hospitals as well, you a few years ago had a hospital stay.
Yes.
Are you okay now?
Yeah.
Medically?
Sure. I mean, for the most part, I mean, I haven't gone in to check out anything else, but yeah, I had a seizure many years ago, but I'm now medicated. So I take anti-seizure medication. And so far, yeah, my brain hasn't fried. But yeah, seizure is a very strange thing. But yeah, no, perfectly fine in that area. I'm allowed to drive again.
That's good. Yeah.
I couldn't drive for a year and a half living in Los Angeles. And if you've ever been to Los Angeles, you need a car. So that was problematic. But yeah, all good now. Thank you for asking. My health is good.
That's good. Yeah, my son, like 2
I
years
did have
ago.
a case of paronychia, Katy. And if you don't know what paronychia is, of course, that's an infection in the cuticle and finger area. We're not sure how it happened, but in damp climates like Juneau, Alaska, which is a rainforest, you know, you're susceptible to things like paronychia. And so I had to go in and have my my pinky drained. But I'm fine now. That's fine.
Really? I've never heard of that in my life.
Yeah, it's true. Paronychia.
That was never a problem in Los Angeles, though, because it's so.
No.
I've never been to Los Angeles.
Actually, I also strained a muscle in my right shoulder carrying my son Jackson, but a prescription of muscle relaxants and some rest took care of that. So I'm good there as well.
That's great. I'm glad you're doing well and you're traveling around. Do you enjoy traveling?
I tore ligaments in my left foot many years ago, and that has rendered it quite weak. So I did sprain that. I usually don't talk about it, but I should treat it like a regular injury, even though it's a recurring thing. But a little ice and elevation helped that. So yeah, doing pretty good right now. Doing pretty good.
Amazing. I once fractured my foot and it's still
I was shaving the other day and I did catch a bit like my Adam's apple protrudes. Anyway, and I clipped myself. There's a bit of blood, but yeah, I'm doing fine there again. So yeah, clean bill of health.
And how's your vision?
It's bad. It's bad. It's worse. Well, it's not bad. It's fine, but it's not what it used to be. So yeah, I have reading glasses stashed everywhere. So if I need to really read something up close, I try not to read. That's the thing. I think that's what ruined my eyes in the first place. Reading hurts your eyes. So yeah, but I need my readers.
That totally makes sense. I'm glad though that although your sight has slightly declined and your foot or ligaments sometimes hurt, that you're doing good and you're good enough to tour.
Yes.
Yes. Do you like touring?
I do. I miss, the family. That's the tough part is, leaving Alaska to go on tour means I don't get to see my son and daughter, Emma. So I try and book my tours in spurts. So I do 10 days on the road and I try and do a show a night. And it almost works out perfectly that way. So yeah, I'm leaving Wednesday and I'll be coming back on a Sunday. So that's about 10 days the following Sunday. And then I'm home for about 20 days. So, it's not like the road is a ton of fun because usually you'll get a few days off here and there, or you'll just work weekends. But the way I'm touring now is a little bit grueling. So I do love the road because I love getting on stage and telling jokes, but I do miss the fam. So it's bittersweet.
Yeah. So there's a common theme I find in your comedy and through other things. But the inevitability of death is something you've discussed throughout many of your career. What is it like when you've obviously thought about this a lot to now be a dad and bring a life into this world? Like, was that kind of the opposite of how you've always watched life go by?
Oh my God. I can't believe this is a question. We have to talk about this. Yeah, it's not something, I mean, it's something that pops up in my mind. It depends what you're asking here, but it's something that, yeah, is always present. Yes, I think more and more about, I used to have these, speaking of dreams, these horrible dreams of my son drowning, which was terrible. Awful dreams. And the next day I would always think about, life insurance and policies that are left behind, like this inevitability of death thing that looms over all of us. I still do, but it used to be very intense. So I think about, it's such a weird thing because once you're gone, you're gone. No point worrying about anything. And you can't worry. But yeah, you want to make sure you leave things behind and your offspring doesn't have to struggle. So that's as far as I go with it, I think, before I change subjects in my own brain and start watching baseball highlights. So yes, I think about death a lot more now that my son is here.
Yeah, well, I know, like when I had my son and he was like a tiny little potato newborn, like I was just like, I'm holding the beginning of, hopefully 80 or so years. And that's just, I'm also somebody that I don't really worry about, things that you can't control. But like holding the beginning is just wild. It's wild.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it is. It's bizarre. I can't even put it into words. I mean, things happen so quickly. I mean, if I took the time to write a poem about it or write a diary entry about, my experience the following day after he was born, yeah, maybe I could read that back to you, but it's just a blur. It just flashes by your brain in an instant. Yeah, holding the beginnings. Yeah, I've never thought that way about it, but yeah, it sucks, huh?
Yeah.
Death.
Oh my God. Like I can't die now. Like I'm not allowed to die. I'm like, I have a child. I need
well, you're going to. I hate to tell you.
I'm going to die.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully not soon.
No one's ever figured that one out yet. Yeah. No, I think there are some wonderful things that come with it. Like, you think about archiving your thoughts and it makes you go back and look at your life and write down all the wonderful things that contributed to these defining moments in your life, jobs you had, concerts you went to, people you fell in love with, friends you had. Documenting those things, writing them down and making them available to your son is it forces you to think in ways like, if I am gone prematurely, how would I communicate these things to my son? So it kind of forces you to remember all these great things and do things to leave them in a good place, which is probably a pretty good project for anyone. But especially in the later, after 40, 45 years of life, it's a nice thing to do. Scrapbooking is what I'm getting at. It's good to get into scrapbooking.
Scrapbooking. I think scrapbooking is very therapeutic. It's nice to put all your good thoughts into a book.
Yeah.
Or a video.
Yeah.
Things like that.
But video seems cheap and it can disappear. Or it's a scrapbook, it's right there. Analog. I'm more of an analog guy.
Yeah. Well, I have an archivist background. So video and audio freak me out because one, I don't really understand how technology works. But like one little thing messes up and that's just erased and irretrievable. Like, I mean, of course there's in physical forms, there's the threat of fire and things like that. But
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like to have solid things. And like I'm thinking, like, how many photos do we have on some like Google Cloud that one thing could happen to and it's gone? Like you need to print.
Yep. Absolutely, yeah. But at the same time, it would be interesting to have them all go and realize you never needed to take them in the first place. I mean, the number of pictures we now take that we never use and completely forget about. It's like it loses its that special feeling, you know, an idea of a film camera coming out years ago. That was a moment, that was an event, that was something. Whereas now.
Oh yeah, like if my kid ever asks, like, what did I look like August 3rd, 2019? I can be like, this exactly.
You'd have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 minute after midnight or later that day. Yeah. Yeah, we'd have it all.
So yeah, so you're coming here. What can people kind of expect? Like, what are you doing? Do you have somebody opening? What's gonna go down in Dartmouth?
Yeah, so Otter is opening for me. He's from Moncton but lives in sorry, that's the Moncton show. I'm not sure what's set up for Dartmouth, but actually I could tell you right now who's opening for me in Dartmouth. Let me just find it here.
And of course all of Atlantic Canada, but I want to know for me.
Yeah. Let me find this here. Sorry about this. 2 seconds. Oh, Nick Martinello.
Okay, that's cool.
Nick Martinello is helping put on the show in Dartmouth, and he will be on the show as well. Dartmouth is going to be a blast. So yeah, I'll be talking a lot about my life in the last year and a half. So it's all about the birth of a child, how that's changed my life. If you should or shouldn't do that, I'll give advice to people. But it's going to be a lot of that, blathering on about me and my legacy project, Jackson. So it's a lot of that. And it's going to be it's a fun show.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to discovering if something's going to happen when I enter this church and see the glass. What's going to go on? I don't
Nothing. Life will go on as is. It's just a coincidence. That's all it is. You'll be fine.
Do you believe in anything other than coincidences?
No. The zero is nada. No.
Nothing else.
No. Nothing else. What do you mean? Any occult and paranormal or?
Yeah. Or are you just vibing? You're here now and that's it.
Brain turns off. That's it. Yeah.
That's
nothing.
Do you find that peaceful?
It's the only way I know. I mean, I don't know if it's peaceful. It's just as stressful knowing that one day, you're in the ground and consciousness ceases to be.
Where do you think we go?
Great talking with you. What do you mean where I go? What does that mean? Like
no, I mean like what do you think happens? Like
nothing.
Like
turn off.
You just turn off.
Well, we weren't here before. We won't be here after. That's all I can possibly think of.
I'm really excited to have such depressing conversations with a comedian. I think
I
did good.
You asked the question and you left it till the end.
Anyway, I'm looking very forward to your show. And you seem to also be looking very forward to the show. You're going to Newfoundland first, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to Newfoundland. Conception Bay and then Aaron's Pub in Newfoundland, St. John's, Newfoundland for 4 shows Friday, Saturday.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Okay. Well, thank you for speaking with me.
Katy, thank you. We'll see you in Dartmouth.
I will see you in Dartmouth.
It's the same window. It is.